Good morning. I would like to invite you for the next few moments to step away from the noise and the rush of your daily obligations. I want you to join me here in this quiet space of reflection to consider what may be the single most important question you will ever ask yourself. It is a question that has echoed through the corridors of history, pondered by kings in their castles and by farmers in their fields. It is a question that, once truly confronted, has the power to alter the very trajectory of a human life. The question is this: why is it that so many led lives of quiet compromise, while so few seem to craft a life of magnificent design? Why is it that, given the same 24 hours in a day, the same marketplace, the same basic set of challenges and opportunities, some individuals fashion a life of fortune rich in wealth, health, relationships, and joy, while the great majority find themselves stranded on the shores of the average? Is it a matter of luck? Is it circumstance? Is it the brute force of destiny, where a fortunate few are pre-selected for greatness and the rest are left to simply get by? We are told these stories from a young age. We are taught to look for answers on the outside. We are conditioned to believe that the quality of our life is a product of external forces: the economy, the government, our boss, our background, the neighborhood we grew up in. But I am here today to suggest to you that these are merely the great alibis of mediocrity. They are the sophisticated excuses we have been taught to accept, the narratives that allow us to relinquish the awesome power that lies dormant within each of us. The truth, the profound and sometimes difficult truth, is that fortune is not a matter of chance. It is a matter of design. Success is not a mystical prize to be pursued. It is a predictable outcome to be attracted by the person you consciously decide to become. The great divide between an average life and a life of fortune is not a chasm of circumstance. It is a bridge built piece by piece, plank by plank, by the daily application of discipline. And the blueprint for that bridge is what we are here to discuss. Before we can understand the architecture of success, we must first perform an honest diagnosis of the anatomy of mediocrity. For you cannot build a new house until you understand the faulty foundations of the old one. Where does the average life come from? It does not spring from a single catastrophic failure. No, it is far more subtle than that. The average life is woven together, thread by thread, from a series of small, seemingly insignificant compromises made every single day. Let us examine the three great diseases of the will that keep the majority from their potential. First, there is the plague of blame, the tendency to point a finger, to make something or someone else the reason for our lack of progress. The taxes are too high, the market is too competitive, my boss doesn't appreciate me, I didn't get the right education. For every reason a person has for not succeeding, you will find them pointing outward. But let me ask you this: when you point a finger at someone else, are there not three fingers pointing back at you? The act of blaming is a voluntary surrender of your power. The moment you declare that someone or something else is responsible for your situation, you have rendered yourself helpless to change it. You become a leaf in the wind, tossed about by forces you claim you cannot control. The first step toward fortune is to pull that finger back, to turn it inward, and to accept a simple, liberating truth. You are responsible. You are the pilot of your own ship. The winds of circumstance may blow. They blow on us all. But you, and you alone, are the one who sets the sail. The second affliction is the trap of the comfort zone. The comfort zone is perhaps the most dangerous place a human being can reside. It is a place where dreams go to die. It is not a place of joy or fulfillment, but a place of mere tolerability. It's not too hot, not too cold. It's not terrible, but it's not great. It's just fine. And fine is the mortal enemy of fortune. The comfort zone promises safety, but it is a prison disguised as a sanctuary. It keeps you from risk, yes, but it also keeps you from growth. It protects you from failure, but it also shields you from victory. Every great achievement in human history, every invention, every work of art, every breakthrough was born the moment someone had the courage to step out of the warm, familiar circle of the known and into the uncertain territory of their own potential. Progress is impossible without the willingness to experience temporary discomfort. You must be willing to trade the security of the familiar for the possibility of the extraordinary. And this leads to the third and perhaps most tragic condition, the syndrome of someday I'll. It is a beautiful, sunny island in the sea of imagination where most people have docked their ambitions. Someday I'll write that book. Someday I'll start that business. Someday I'll get in shape. Someday I'll learn that new skill. Someday. The problem, of course, is that someday is not a day of the week. It does not appear on any calendar. It is a fantasy, a destination that allows us to postpone the necessary action of today. Waiting for the right time is one of the most insidious forms of self-deception. Waiting for conditions to be perfect. Waiting until you feel ready. Waiting until you have more knowledge, more money, more confidence. This waiting is a fool's errand. The right time is now. The perfect opportunity is the one you create through your own initiative. So we have this trifecta of mediocrity, the habit of blame, the prison of comfort, and the fantasy of someday. Together, they form a powerful gravitational pull that keeps people locked in an orbit of the average. How then does one break free? How does the journey from average to fortune begin? It does not begin with a change in the economy. It does not begin with a new job. It does not begin when someone else gives you permission. It begins with a quiet revolution in the mind. It begins with the adoption of a new philosophy. A number of years ago, I was fortunate to meet a wise and wealthy man who would become my mentor. At the time, I was young, I was broke, and my pockets were full of excuses for my lack of progress. I had a long list of all the things that were holding me back. And I shared this list with him, expecting, I suppose, some sympathy. He listened patiently. And when I was finished, he looked at me with a gaze that was both kind and piercing, and he said something so simple, yet so profound, that it shattered my entire worldview. He said, "Young man, for things to change for you, you have to change. For things to get better for you, you have to get better." In that moment, I understood. The problem was not the government. The problem was not the economy. The problem was not my lack of a college degree. The problem was my philosophy. It was the way I was thinking. It was the set of my sail. I had spent all my time and energy cursing the wind, and it had never occurred to me that I had the power to simply adjust my sails. That singular idea is the dawn of personal responsibility. It is the turning point. It is the moment you stop being a creature of your circumstances and start becoming the architect of your life. It is the realization that your life, as it stands today, is the sum total of your choices, your habits, and your philosophies up until this point. And if you are the one who has created your present reality, then you are also the one with the power to design a new one for the future. This is not a call for self-blame. It is a call for self-empowerment. It is the most liberating truth in the universe. So, how do we begin this work of redesign? We start by understanding the nature of the journey. The path from average to fortune is not a lottery, and it is not magic. It is a process as natural and as predictable as the turning of the seasons. I call it the law of the farm. You cannot cheat the farm. You cannot cram for a harvest. In the spring, you must plant the seed. If you fail to plant in the spring, you will not reap in the fall. It's a simple law. In the summer, you must tend to the crops. You must pull the weeds and protect your plants from pests. You must engage in the daily, often thankless labor of cultivation. If you are lazy in the summer, the weeds of neglect will choke the life from your potential harvest. And if you have been diligent in the spring and in the summer, then in the fall, you will reap your reward. This is the law. It is inevitable. The harvest will come. But here also is the challenge. You must also have the wisdom and the strength to get through the winter. For winters always come. There will be economic winters, personal winters, health winters. Times of difficulty and challenge are not an exception. They are a guaranteed part of the human experience. The person with a sound philosophy uses the winter to get stronger, to read, to plan, to prepare for the coming spring. This metaphor is the key to understanding the journey ahead. The disciplines we are about to discuss are the seeds you will plant in the spring. They are the daily acts of cultivation you will perform in the summer. They are what will guarantee your harvest in the fall and give you the strength to endure the winter. The ideas are simple. Do not be deceived by their simplicity. Many will hear them and say, "Oh, I know that," but there is a world of difference between knowing the path and walking the path. The disciplines are all simple to do, but they are also simple not to do. That is the great challenge of life, the choice between the easy discipline and the easy neglect. The small daily error in judgment, repeated every day, will lead you so far off course that in 5 years you will find yourself in a place of profound regret. But the small daily discipline practiced with consistency every day will lead you to a destination so magnificent, so rewarding, that it will exceed your wildest dreams. The life of fortune is not reserved for a special few. It is available to all who are willing to pay the price. And the price is not a lump sum you pay once. The price is paid every day in the currency of discipline. And so we stand at a crossroads. You can continue down the well-trodden path of the majority, the path of blame, comfort, and someday, or you can choose today to begin a new path, the path of the architect, the path of personal responsibility, the path of deliberate design. The 10 disciplines we are about to explore are the tools for this grand project. They are not secrets, they are fundamentals. They are the timeless principles of cause and effect that govern human achievement. They are the blueprint for building a life that is not just successful in the eyes of the world, but is a true work of art, a life that is rich, meaningful, and a testament to the incredible potential that lies within you. The question is not, can you do it? The question is, will you do it? If your answer is yes, if you are ready to stop wishing and start working, to stop settling and start building, then I invite you to listen with an open mind and a willing heart. For the grand adventure of designing your own extraordinary life is about to begin. We have now arrived at the very heart of our discussion. We have established the foundational truth that you are the architect of your own life. We have diagnosed the common ailments of blame, comfort, and procrastination that hold the majority captive. Now, we must turn our attention to the tools. For an architect without tools is merely a dreamer. An architect with a proven set of tools is a creator. The 10 disciplines we are about to dissect are the master tools for the construction of a life of fortune. I ask you to listen not just with your ears, but with your entire being. For within these principles lies the power to reshape your destiny. Let us begin with the discipline that ignites all others. It is the personal declaration of independence from mediocrity. It is the revolution of rising standards. Your life, in this very moment, is a perfect reflection of the standards you are willing to tolerate. It is not a reflection of your desires. It is not a reflection of your hopes. It is a reflection of what you have implicitly agreed is acceptable. Your bank account, the physical condition of your body, the depth and quality of your relationships, all of it is a mirror. Think of your personal standards as a thermostat. Most of the world is conditioned to set their thermostat to a sensible 72 degrees. It's comfortable. It avoids the extremes. Society encourages this. Your friends, your family, in their well-meaning attempt to protect you, will advise you to keep it there. Don't aim too high. They'll say you might be disappointed. Be realistic. But fortune is not found at 72 degrees. Fortune is found in the heat of ambition, in the fire of relentless self-improvement. Raising your standards is the conscious act of walking over to that thermostat and defiantly turning the dial up, not just to 75, but to 80, to 90, to a level that makes you uncomfortable, a level that demands more from you than ever before. This is not a polite request you make of yourself. It is a non-negotiable demand. It is the moment you draw a line in the sand and declare with every fiber of your being, I will no longer tolerate this. I will no longer settle for less than I am capable of becoming, doing, and having. What does it mean to tolerate? It means you tolerate an income that causes stress at the end of the month. You tolerate a body that lacks energy and vitality. You tolerate relationships that drain you rather than uplift you. You tolerate a mind cluttered with worry and distraction. The revolution begins when tolerance ends. But let this be clear. A declaration is only the beginning. The universe does not respond to your words. It responds to your actions. A new standard demands new behavior. If you raise your standard for financial abundance, you must cancel the nightly subscription to mindless entertainment and subscribe instead to the Library of Financial Literacy. If you raise your standard for physical health, you must push the plate away when you are satisfied, not when you are full, and you must embrace the discipline of movement. Your actions are the evidence of your true standards. Everything else is just talk. So I ask you, where in your life have you set the thermostat too low? Where have you been settling for fine instead of demanding fortune? Identify it, declare your revolution, and let your actions today prove that you are serious. Once your new standards are set, they must be supported by the second discipline. This is the engine of all achievement. It is what I call the unfair advantage of diligence. In a world obsessed with shortcuts, life hacks, and overnight success, simple, focused, relentless effort has become a superpower. The willingness to outwork your competition, and more importantly, to outwork your own past self, is the single greatest predictor of success. But we must redefine what hard work truly is. Many people are busy. They rush, they hurry, they are perpetually in motion. But activity is not the same as accomplishment. Being busy does not mean you are being productive. The key is not to work hard, but to work with purposeful diligence. It is to identify the few vital tasks that produce the majority of your results, and then to pour the full force of your concentration and effort into those tasks. This is the law of the farm in action. Diligence is the summer's work. The sun is hot, the work is repetitive, the harvest is still a distant promise. Many will abandon the fields during this time for the shade of distraction. But the person of diligence continues to tend the crops, to pull the weeds of bad habits, to water their goals with consistent effort. They understand that you cannot cheat the process. Let me tell you a story of two men. The first was blessed with immense natural talent. Ideas came to him easily. People were drawn to his charisma. But he relied on this talent. He did only what was necessary. He coasted. The second man had only average talent, but he possessed a ferocious appetite for effort. While the talented man slept, the diligent man studied. While the talented man socialized, the diligent man practiced. In the short term, talent gave the first man an edge, but over the years, the diligent man's relentless effort compounded. Each hour of study built upon the last. Each failure he worked through forged his character. Eventually, he did not just catch up to the talented man, he surpassed him so completely that it seemed as if he was the one who had been blessed with a magical gift. But it was not magic. It was the accumulated power of diligence. Effort is the great equalizer, and when you apply it consistently, it becomes the great separator. Decide today that you will no longer do the minimum. Stay that extra hour. Read that extra chapter. Make that extra call. Your future self will thank you for the diligence you practice today. With diligence comes reward, and that reward must be managed with wisdom. This brings us to the third discipline, a subject that is foundational to freedom. It is the philosophy of money. You must understand this. You are either a master of money or you are a slave to it. There is no middle ground. And the determining factor is not the amount you earn, but the philosophy you live by. The philosophy of the poor is to see money as something to be spent. It is a tool for immediate gratification. An income is earned, and it is quickly exchanged for cars, clothes, dinners, and distractions. The philosophy of the fortunate is to see money as a resource to be cultivated. Every dollar is a seed. You can either eat the seed now for a moment of pleasure, or you can plant it so that it may grow into a mighty tree of financial independence. The cornerstone of a wealthy philosophy is a principle of profound self-respect. Pay yourself first. Before you pay the landlord, before you pay the grocery store, before you pay the government, you take a portion of your income, at least 10%. I have always taught, and you set it aside for your future. This is not a savings plan. It is a declaration, it is a statement that your future freedom is more important than any immediate want. It is you becoming the master. You must then stand guard against the two silent thieves of fortune. The first is instant gratification. It is the siren song of buy now, pay later. It is the voice that whispers, You deserve it. The discipline is to delay gratification. It is to find greater satisfaction in watching your assets grow than in acquiring a depreciating possession. The second thief is lifestyle inflation. This is the subtle trap that ensnares so many as their income grows. A raise comes, and with it, a bigger apartment, a more expensive car, a more elaborate vacation. Their income has increased, but their financial position has not. They are still one paycheck away from disaster, just in a nicer prison. The discipline is to let your investments grow at a faster rate than your lifestyle. The ultimate goal is to make a fundamental shift from earning money with your labor to earning money with your capital. It is to move from being an earner to being an owner. To own assets, stocks, real estate, a business that works for you around the clock. That is the path from labor to fortune. Master your money, and you will master a key component of a life of freedom. A life of fortune is not built within the walls of certainty. Growth and comfort are mutually exclusive. This leads us to our fourth discipline, the courage to embrace calculated risk. A ship in harbor is safe. The waters are calm. The anchor is secure. But that is not what ships were built for. Ships were built to brave the open seas, to discover new worlds, to transport valuable cargo. Your life is that ship. The harbor is your comfort zone. It is safe, it is predictable, it is secure. But there is no growth in the harbor. There is no adventure. There is no fortune. To achieve anything of significance, you must be willing to pull up the anchor and sail out into the unknown. But notice the crucial word, calculated. We are not talking about reckless gambling. The fool leaps without looking. The wise person calculates the journey. They study the maps. They check the weather. They prepare their ship for the storm. They replace the emotional response of fear with the intellectual process of prudence. They do not eliminate the risk, but they manage it. The greatest risk, you see, is not taking one. The greatest risk is to spend your life in the harbor, only to look back in your final years and wonder about the worlds you might have discovered. The pain of regret is a far heavier anchor than the temporary fear of failure. How do you build this courage? You build it like any other muscle, through progressive training. You start with small risks. You risk speaking up in a meeting. You risk starting a conversation. You risk investing a small sum in an idea you have researched. Each time you sail out a little way and return safely to harbor, your courage grows. Your risk muscle becomes stronger. You prove to yourself that you are capable of navigating uncertainty. Ask yourself this question: what is the true cost of inaction? What is the price I am paying for the illusion of safety? The opportunities you don't pursue, the skills you don't develop, the person you don't become, that is the real risk. Have the courage to leave the harbor. The journey on the open sea is long. It is not a short sprint. It is a marathon. And to complete it, you must rely on two of the most powerful yet unglamorous forces in the universe. Our fifth discipline is to master the twin giants, consistency and patience. The world is mesmerized by the quantum leap, the overnight success, the viral sensation. But this is an illusion. Every quantum leap you witness is simply the final, visible result of 1,000 small, consistent, invisible steps taken when no one was watching. Imagine an old-fashioned hand pump for a well. To get water, you must pump the handle. At first, you pump and nothing happens. It feels futile. Your arms get tired. You are tempted to quit. Most people do. They pump for a minute, see no water, and walk away, declaring the well is dry. But the person of consistency keeps pumping. They know that with each pump they are building unseen pressure deep underground. And just when it seems most hopeless, they give one more pump and the water gushes forth. That is the power of consistency. It is the boring, repetitive, daily practice of the fundamentals. It is showing up when your motivation has long since faded. It is the discipline of the pump. And this is where its twin, patience, is essential. Patience is not passive waiting. It is not sitting around hoping for the best. Patience is active faith. It is the unwavering belief that if you keep pumping the handle, the water will come. It is continuing to water the seed, trusting that roots are growing deep in the soil, even when you see no sprout on the surface. In our world of instant everything, patience has become a lost art. But the laws of growth do not bend to our impatience. You cannot produce a baby in 1 month by getting 9 women pregnant. Some things just take time. Do not be discouraged when you do not see immediate results. Your efforts are not being wasted, they are being stored, they are compounding. Stay the course. Embrace the steady, daily rhythm of discipline. The twin giants of consistency and patience will carry you to heights you cannot reach with frantic, sporadic effort. We have now crossed the halfway point of these 10 disciplines. We have laid the foundation, and we are about to build the grand structure. If these ideas, these philosophies of a well-designed life are resonating with you, if you feel a stirring within you to become more than you currently are, then I would like to personally invite you to become a permanent part of this community of architects. By subscribing to this channel, you are not merely clicking a button, you are making a commitment to your own growth. You are raising your hand to say, I am serious about designing my future. If that is you, take this brief moment to subscribe. We have 5 more powerful disciplines to explore, and the journey is far from over. Thank you. Now, let us proceed to the discipline that fuels all others. To navigate the ever-changing seas of life, you need constantly updated maps. This brings us to the 6th discipline, the one that ensures your continued growth and relevance. It is the commitment to lifelong learning. There is a powerful phrase I have lived by: formal education will make you a living, self-education will make you a fortune. Formal education gives you a foundation. It teaches you what is already known. It prepares you for the world as it was. Self-education is what allows you to adapt, to innovate, and to lead in the world as it is and as it is becoming. The day you stop learning is the day you begin to stagnate. You must become a voracious, lifelong student. Your greatest investment will never be in a stock or a piece of real estate. Your greatest investment is in yourself. How do you do this? First, you must choose your library over your television. One numbs the mind, the other expands it. In books, you can have conversations with the greatest minds who have ever lived. For a few dollars, you can learn in a few hours what took someone else a lifetime to figure out. What a bargain! Second, you must turn your downtime into learning time. Turn your car into a university on wheels with audiobooks and podcasts. You can learn a new language or master the principles of finance while you commute. Third, you must actively seek out new perspectives. This means engaging with ideas that challenge your own. True learning requires the humility to unlearn. It is the willingness to discard an old, outdated belief to make room for a new, more effective one. Learning is not a defensive act to simply keep up. It is an offensive weapon. The more you learn, the more you can earn, because the more value you can bring to the marketplace. See every day as an opportunity to know more, to understand more deeply, and to become more capable. The fortune you seek is in direct proportion to the philosophy you cultivate, and your philosophy is cultivated through learning. Your learning, your diligence, your every act requires a canvas upon which to operate. That canvas is the most precious and finite resource you possess. Our 7th discipline is the mastery of time. You are given 24 hours each day. It is the great equalizer. No one gets more, no one gets less. The difference between a life of fortune and a life of average is found in the stewardship of these hours. I want you to consider a powerful idea. Every morning you are given 86,400 seconds. At the end of the day, any seconds you have failed to invest in a worthy purpose are lost forever. You are, in essence, trading a day of your life for the activities you fill it with. At the end of each day, you must ask yourself, was it a good trade? To ensure it is, you must move from being a manager of your schedule to being a leader of your life. This means you must stand as a fierce guardian at the gate of your time. You must learn the powerful, liberating art of saying no. No to distractions. No to requests that do not serve your primary purpose. No to the endless stream of minor tasks that scream for your attention. The great tragedy of many lives is that people are majoring in minor things. Their days are filled with activity, but not with accomplishment. They are experts at clearing their email inbox, but amateurs at building their life's enterprise. You must identify the few Vital activities, the 20% of efforts that will produce 80% of your results, and dedicate your best, most productive hours to them. Give your prime time to your prime objective. Design your day in advance. Do not start your day until you have it finished on paper. A day left to chance is a day left to waste. When you master your time, you master your life. Make the trade a good one. All the plans and disciplines in the world are worthless without the force that animates them. The eighth discipline is the very bedrock of character and achievement. It is the unbreakable power of commitment. There is a vast difference between being interested and being committed. When you are interested, you do what is convenient. You work on your goal when you feel like it, when the mood is right, when the sun is shining. When you are committed, you do what is necessary. You accept no excuses, only results. The storm may rage, your motivation may have vanished, but you show up anyway. That is commitment. Think of commitment as a sacred promise you make to your future self. The person you dream of becoming is waiting for you. Every time you honor your commitment, every time you do the workout when you're tired, every time you make the call when you're scared, you take one step closer to that person. Every time you break that promise, you betray your own future. Life will test your commitment. It is guaranteed. Just when you have set your course, life will throw a storm at you. An obstacle will rise up. These are not signs that you should quit. These are tests. The universe is asking you, are you truly serious? How badly do you want this? Your commitment is your answer. Commitment is not built in one grand gesture. It is forged in the small daily victories. It is the decision to keep the promise you made to yourself yesterday. Every promise kept strengthens the muscle of your resolve. You build an identity as someone who follows through, as someone who can be counted on by the most important person of all, yourself. When your commitment is unbreakable, your success becomes inevitable. The path of commitment and risk is not without its stumbles. You will fall. You will make mistakes. The ninth discipline is the alchemy that turns the lead of defeat into the gold of wisdom. It is the discipline of turning failure into fuel. Society has taught us to fear failure. We see it as an end, a final verdict on our ability. This is a profound error in philosophy. Failure is not a person, it is an event. It is not an identity, it is a temporary outcome. You must become a master student in the University of Failure. It is the most expensive school, for its tuition is paid in pain and disappointment. But its lessons are the most valuable. When you experience a failure, you have paid the tuition. The greatest tragedy is to pay the tuition but not get the lesson. To harvest the lesson, you must perform an autopsy without blame. Look at the failure clinically, objectively. What was the flawed assumption? Where did the system break down? What crucial piece of information did I lack? You must separate the event from your ego. It was not you that failed. It was the approach that failed. This reframing is everything. It allows you to rise from the ashes of a setback, not with shame, but with new data. You have now learned one more way that does not work. You are now smarter. You are now more prepared. You are now stronger. Resilience is not a trait you are born with. It is a skill you develop. It is the practice of getting up one more time than you are knocked down. Every time you turn a failure into a lesson, you are building that skill. You are learning to fail forward. As long as you are learning and moving forward, even your defeats become victories in disguise. Welcome your failures as the harsh but effective teachers they are. Finally, we arrive at the 10th discipline. It is the invisible force that will either accelerate your journey or anchor you to the spot. It is the undeniable power of the law of association. You are the composite average of the 5 people with whom you spend the most time. Read that again. You are the average of their health, their income, their ambition, and their mindset. The people you associate with create a psychic environment that you breathe every day. If that environment is polluted with negativity, gossip, and limited thinking, your own potential will suffocate. If that environment is rich with ambition, ideas, and encouragement, your potential will flourish. You must become a conscious curator of your inner circle. This requires a 3-part strategy. First is disassociation. This is the difficult but necessary choice to limit your exposure to people who are pulling you down. It is not an act of arrogance. It is an act of self-preservation. You cannot fly with eagles if you continue to surround yourself with turkeys. Second is limited association. There are people in your life whom you cannot fully disassociate from. Your strategy here is to limit the time and the depth of the conversation, keep it pleasant, keep it brief, and protect your mind. Third, and most important, is expanded association. This is the deliberate, strategic effort to find and spend time with people who are further ahead than you are. Seek out mentors, join mastermind groups, go to conferences where successful people gather. Be in rooms where you feel challenged, where you are forced to stretch. And as you seek to associate with people of excellence, remember this: you must also bring value. The best way to attract remarkable people into your life is to become a remarkable person yourself. Work on yourself harder than you work on anything else. Become so disciplined, so knowledgeable, and so valuable that people of quality seek you out. Your associations, both physical and intellectual, the books you read, the audios you listen to, will determine who you become. Choose them with the utmost care, for they are choosing your future. We have spent our time together on a significant journey. We began with the great question of a lifetime, examining why so few achieve the fortunes they desire. We then dissected the anatomy of the average life, identifying the subtle poisons of blame, comfort, and procrastination. And most importantly, we have just concluded a deep and thorough exploration of the 10 fundamental disciplines, the master tools required to construct a life of extraordinary design. The revolution of rising standards, the unfair advantage of diligence, the philosophy of money, the courage to embrace calculated risk, the twin giants of consistency and patience, the commitment to lifelong learning, the mastery of time, the unbreakable power of commitment, turning failure into fuel, and finally, the law of association. Now, as we approach the end of our time together, the great temptation is to view these 10 principles as a simple checklist, to see them as 10 separate items to be managed. But to do so would be to miss the profound symphonic beauty of the entire philosophy. The final and perhaps most crucial part of our journey today is not to review these disciplines, but to synthesize them, to see them not as individual bricks, but as the interlocking stones of a grand cathedral, the cathedral of your own magnificent life. Think of it this way: your decision to raise your standards is a hollow wish without the engine of diligence to give it power. Your diligence will inevitably produce results, a financial surplus, which would be squandered without a sound philosophy of money to manage it. Your financial stability, in turn, provides the foundation from which you can take calculated risks, pushing your boundaries further. This journey of risk and growth demands a commitment to lifelong learning so that your risks are informed by wisdom, not by folly. And where do you find the hours in the day for this learning, for this diligence? You find it through the mastery of time, by carving out moments of purpose from the raw material of your 24 hours. And what will sustain you when this journey becomes difficult? What will carry you through the inevitable storms of doubt and despair? It will be your unbreakable power of commitment, a resolve so strong that it allows you to look at your failures not as roadblocks, but as fuel for your journey. And how do you protect this entire delicate ecosystem of growth? You protect it through the law of association, by creating an environment that nourishes your ambitions, not one that poisons them. You see, not one of these disciplines can stand alone. They are a web of interconnected truths. Your strength in one area amplifies your strength in all others. Your weakness in one area will inevitably pull the others down. The task is not to perfect one, but to cultivate all of them in a balanced, harmonious dance. That is the beginning of wisdom. Now, I want to shift our perspective. I want to lift our gaze from the details of the day-to-day and look toward the horizon. The title of this final segment is The Design of a Decade for a very specific reason. We grossly overestimate what we can accomplish in a day, and we tragically underestimate what we can achieve in a decade. A single day of discipline seems insignificant. Reading 10 pages of a book today does not make you a genius tomorrow. Saving $10 today does not make you wealthy next week. Making 5 extra calls today does not build an empire by Friday. And because the immediate reward is so small, most people abandon the effort. They cannot see the forest for the trees. But I want you to engage in a thought experiment with me. I want you to visualize 2 distinct paths stretching out before you over the next 10 years, the next 3,650 days of your life. Let us first walk down path A. This is the path of easy neglect. It is not a path of catastrophic failure, but of small, daily compromises. On this path, you choose not to read the 10 pages because you are tired. You choose to spend the $10 because it brings a moment of pleasure. You choose not to make the extra calls because you've done enough for today. You choose to remain in the comfortable association of friends who complain rather than create. None of these choices will ruin your life tomorrow. But this is the insidious nature of neglect. Its effects are cumulative. After 1 year, the person on this path is not much different. But after 3 years, the books not read have become a mountain of wisdom they do not possess. The money not saved has become a significant sum of capital they have failed to accumulate. The opportunities not pursued have faded into the past. After 5 years, they begin to feel a quiet sense of unease, a feeling that they are falling behind. And after 10 years, 3,650 days of small neglects, they arrive at a destination of profound regret. They are financially stressed, physically drained, and haunted by the ghost of the person they could have become. They did not arrive here by accident. They arrived here by 1,000 small, easy choices of neglect. Now, let us turn and walk down path B. This is the path of simple discipline. This path begins today with one small, positive action. Let us say you choose just one discipline, lifelong learning. You decide to read just 10 pages of a good book every single day. For the first few months, nothing seems to change. But inside, something is shifting. You are feeding your mind with new ideas, new possibilities. One of those ideas sparks a new approach to your work. By the end of the first year, your new knowledge has made you more valuable, leading to a small raise. You take that extra income and you apply a second discipline, the philosophy of money. You plant it. Now, 2 disciplines are at work. Your learning is increasing, you're earning, and your financial discipline is turning that earning into capital. This newfound confidence in capital allows you to apply a third discipline, calculated risk. You invest in a new venture. You start a small business on the side. This venture will inevitably face challenges, forcing you to develop the 4th discipline, turning failure into fuel. You learn, you adapt, you grow stronger. All of this requires a 5th discipline, the mastery of time, as you now must balance your job, your learning, and your new enterprise. Do you see the cascading effect? It all started with 10 pages of a book. After 5 years, the person on this path is unrecognizable from their former self. And after 10 years, 3,650 days of small, daily disciplines compounded one upon another, they have arrived at a destination of fortune. Their health is vibrant, their wealth is growing, and their mind is a rich library of experience and wisdom. They did not arrive here by luck. They arrived here by the deliberate, consistent application of a sound philosophy. These 2 paths are available to every single one of us every single day. The future is not a place we are going to. It is a place we are creating. And the creative act happens now in the choices of this very moment. So, I ask you to consider, what will be the design of your decade? This is not about a rigid 5-point plan. This is about a vision. I want you to think about the 4 cornerstones of a great life: health, wealth, relationships, and spirit. What is your vision for your health in 10 years? Not just the absence of sickness, but a state of vibrant, boundless energy that allows you to live fully. What is your vision for your wealth? Not just the accumulation of money, but the achievement of financial freedom, the freedom to make choices based on purpose, not on necessity. What is your vision for your relationships? To be surrounded by a small, curated circle of people who inspire, challenge, and love you. And what is your vision for your spirit, your mind? To be a person of wisdom, of character, of resilience, and of peace. Take the time to dream. Allow yourself to build this blueprint in your mind. This vision will become the North Star that guides your daily disciplines. And this leads us to a final crucial understanding. The ultimate purpose of applying these disciplines, the ultimate prize in achieving your goals, is not what you get from it. The money, the accolades, the possessions, these are secondary. The true fortune is in the person you must become to achieve it. To build a life of fortune, you cannot remain the person you are today. You must become a person of discipline. You must become a person of courage. You must become a person of wisdom and resilience. You must become a person who masters their emotions, a person who values integrity, a person who brings more value to the world than they take from it. The money is a wonderful reward, but it is merely the byproduct. The true masterpiece you are crafting is yourself. The struggle you will face on this journey is not primarily with the world. It is a battle against the inertia of your old self. The part of you that loves comfort, the part of you that fears risk, the part of you that prefers the ease of distraction to the difficulty of focus. This internal battle is the great human drama. Every day you choose discipline over ease, you win that battle. And with each victory, you become stronger. You are not just building a business or a bank account, you are forging a character. This is the ultimate expression of the law of sowing and reaping. You cannot sow a seed of indulgence and expect to reap a harvest of health. You cannot sow a seed of financial neglect and expect to reap a harvest of freedom. You cannot sow the seeds of a timid philosophy and expect to reap a life of bold adventure. Every thought you think, every word you speak, every choice you make is a seed, and the harvest of your next decade is being planted today. So we find ourselves at the end of our beginning. The real work starts the moment you leave this space. The knowledge we have shared here is worthless if it is not translated into action. I will not overwhelm you by asking you to master all 10 disciplines at once. I will challenge you, as I did before, but with even greater urgency. Choose one. Which discipline, if you were to make it the central focus of your life for the next 90 days, would trigger the greatest cascade of positive change? Is it the mastery of your time? Is it the revolution of your standards? Is it the law of association? I want you to identify it now. In the quiet of your own mind, make a contract with your future self. Make a solemn promise that starting today, this discipline will not be a suggestion, it will be your law. This journey of 1,000 miles has now begun with this single step, and you do not have to walk it alone. If you are committed to this path, if you wish to continue to surround your mind with the principles of achievement and the philosophies of a life of fortune, then I encourage you one last time to subscribe to this channel and to turn on notifications. Let this be your digital library, your consistent source of inspiration and strategy as you build your decade. And now, I ask you to make your commitment public. In the comments below, share with us the one discipline you have chosen to master. Your declaration will not only solidify your own resolve, but will undoubtedly inspire another architect on their journey. And as you begin this journey, understand that its impact will extend far beyond you. The person of value you become will be a gift to everyone you encounter. Your children will learn more from your example than from your words. Your community will benefit from your contributions. You will create a ripple effect of excellence that you cannot even begin to measure. This is your legacy. It is not something you leave at the end of your life. It is something you live every single day. So let me leave you with this final thought. In 10 years from now, you will arrive. That is a certainty. The sun will rise and set 3,650 more times, and you will be somewhere. The only question is, where? Will you arrive at a destination of your own magnificent design, a place you chose, a place you built, a place that reflects the very best of your potential? Or will you arrive at a place of compromise, a destination chosen for you by neglect and shaped by the currents of circumstance? The choice is yours. The tools are in your hands. The blueprint is in your heart. The future is not a place we are entering, it is a place we are creating. Go now and begin the noble work of creating yours. Thank you.